Okay, this is probably one of the most iconic scenes in movie history, and today I want to break it down and figure out exactly why it works as well as it does.
We're gonna make a fortune with this place.
But first, for those who haven't seen Jurassic Park in a while, let's add some context. Because besides being a visual feast, this scene is the culmination of thematic groundwork that Spielberg has been laying since the first frame, and understanding that groundwork is what takes this scene to the next level.
You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
What we see at the beginning of Jurassic Park is that our protagonist, Dr. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, doesn't like children.
Oh, Ellie, look, they're noisy, they're messy, they're expensive, they smell.
Spielberg reinforces his dislike for children later when Lex and Tim are introduced to really drive that point home.
And they died because of the weather. And then my teacher told me about this other book by a guy named Backer, and he...
The second thread is Jeff Goldblum's Ian Malcolm. Malcolm spends the first half of the film pushing back against everything the park's founder, John Hammond, has built and the philosophy behind it. His argument is that Hammond's scientists were, and I'm quoting directly here, so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step.
And then the T-Rex gets out. Malcolm watches his entire thesis proven right in real time. And Grant is forced to protect the children, and in doing so has to spend the rest of the film with the very thing he's been avoiding. But on top of that, the T-Rex scene happens almost exactly halfway through the film, and in doing so effectively splits the film into two distinct thematically inverted halves. The T-Rex breaks through and everything flips. It's the same film mirrored against itself. And there's a reason Spielberg has opted for this distinctly even emotional symmetry, and I'll explain its effects once we break down the famous T-Rex escape scene. So the scene opens with a brilliant piece of show don't tell. The power in the park has gone out thanks to this guy. Dennis Nedry has sabotaged the park's electrical infrastructure in an attempt to steal dinosaur embryos for a rival company. And he does it at the exact moment the group are out on tour. Hammond asks,
Where did the vehicle stop?
And instead of a character answering, we cut to the goat. It's now night, it's raining, the tone has completely shifted from when we last saw these characters, and that single image tells us exactly where the cars are without a word of dialogue. Spielberg takes it a step further. The camera pans from the goat across to the two cars, Grant returning to his vehicle after checking on the kids. The camera visually links everyone in one unbroken shot. We already know the goat is supposed to be bait for the T-Rex, and that pan across, bringing the characters into the same shot suggests the group may not be so different. Our characters are stuck in powerless cars, right next to the T-Rex enclosure, with the electric fence that was keeping the beast contained no longer working. And the way I see it is that the structure of this scene can actually be split into three distinct acts. And what's clever is that Spielberg signals each shift with a wide shot, resetting the geography and re-establishing the power dynamic before the next act begins. And Act 1 is all about building the suspense before the Rex appears, and Spielberg doubles down on his use of a subjective camera here. The famous water cup rippling, the rearview mirror trembling, these are subjective shots, the character's perspective of their environment reacting to an unseen threat. We're experiencing the realization exactly as they are. The camera is starting to make us feel what the characters are feeling. A cut to a close-up is generally the director emphasizing the importance of someone or something. Here, instead, Spielberg kicks off the shift with Tim noticing the water cup rippling and physically moving toward the camera into a close-up, all to increase the emotional intimacy and highlight the shift. The curiosity is coming from him. Spielberg isn't telling us where to look, Tim is. Tim notices that the goat that was supposed to bait the T-Rex out of the jungle in an earlier scene is now gone. Again, a subjective shot, we're seeing exactly what Tim is seeing through the night vision goggles. We get an over-the-shoulder shot from Lex's perspective. The camera tilts up to the sunroof, literally drawing attention to itself, giving the audience time to prepare for the scare. Spielberg isn't hiding what's coming so much as making you sit with it. As the goat leg hits the sunroof, we get, very stylistically and intentionally I'll add, a crack of thunder.
Where's the goat?
The film making its declaration that shit is about to go down. Spielberg suddenly breaks his deliberate pacing with a fast dramatic push-in on Tim's face. All this feels like a jolt after the slow drawn out build-up of tension. Again, Spielberg uses a simple show don't tell. We see the 10,000 volts warning sign on the electric fence and the Rex's claw touching it. One shot and we get it, the fence isn't working. We don't get a character saying, oh no, the fence isn't working, as so many modern movies would opt for today. The first reveal of the Rex is a single 13-second unbroken crane shot, starting from behind the car windows where the glass gives the audience a sense of safety, a barrier between us and whatever is out there. The camera cranes upwards, the upward movement itself telegraphing the scale of the threat before the whole thing is revealed. Visually, Spielberg removes our protection in the same movement, fully exposing us to the T-Rex, giving us a sense of what the characters must be feeling. We cut to a 2-second shot of the lawyer, scared as hell, the camera looking down on him, the high angle confirming he is powerless, but what's more is that Spielberg's framed him through the sunroof, with the goat's blood smeared across the glass, obscuring his face. Spielberg visually telling us this man is marked for death. The lawyer abandons the children to save himself.
He left us. He left us.
Which opens the way for Grant to step into his character arc.
Now where does he think he's going?
But Spielberg also shoots the lawyer twice within a frame during his escape. First through the car window as he runs off, then through the toilet door as he seeks shelter. He thinks he's found safety, but the framing is telling us otherwise. He's boxed in. So when the Rex finally finds him, it's no coincidence that the very box, his idea of safety, disappears and he's left completely bare and exposed. We get these little injections of comedy from Malcolm, which momentarily puts us at ease.
Now where does he think he's going?
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
It's just enough to drop our guard before the terror takes over completely. The electric fence snaps, sound design doing the heavy lifting once again of building the suspense. And we break into Act 2 of the scene with a 12-second wide shot of the Rex, and its length matches the beast, announcing its dominance. Low angle looking up, reminding us exactly how powerful this thing is. The wide shot resets the geography of the scene, and it's visually screaming conflict. The Rex breaks through right between both cars, visually separating Grant and Malcolm from the kids. We get another little injection of comedy from Malcolm, quite possibly the funniest line in the entire movie.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
But it's doing more than just making us laugh. Every argument Malcolm made in the first half of the film is being fulfilled right in front of him. We cut to an over-the-shoulder shot from Grant and Malcolm's perspective of the Rex in their sights, the shot establishing that it's these two who are eventually going to challenge it. Act 2 is all about chaos, Malcolm's theory proven correct. And what's so brilliant about this section is that even though Spielberg had this massive animatronic T-Rex built for the movie, the majority of the coverage is inside the car with the characters. We don't get these epic wide shots of the Rex attacking the car. Instead, he places us right there, up close, and it's almost suffocating. That claustrophobia is what transfers the terror directly onto the audience. Add to the fact that this entire scene has no music, no score telling us how to feel, just sound effects and the raw reactions of the actors. Which I'll quickly add because I never see anyone talk about this, but these actors did a phenomenal job in this scene. Not once does it feel like they're acting, it quite literally feels like these are people reacting to a real T-Rex. And besides the visual brilliance of Spielberg at the helm of this scene, it's these performances that sell it. Now, the T-Rex flips the kid's car and we cut to this tight close-up of Grant. This is the first extreme close-up we get of any character in the entire scene, and it's marking a pivotal moment. He's making a decision, but more than that, he's stepping into his character arc. A man who has spent the first half of the film avoiding children is now choosing to protect them. And with that decision, we break into Act 3. Grant, through stepping into his character arc, grabs a flare and takes agency. Our characters stop being purely reactive. And like I mentioned, Spielberg marks the act break with another wide shot. It's a beautifully composed frame. Big girl Rex on the left, the flipped car in the children's center, Grant right, foreground, midground, background, all working together. But beyond the composition, it's visually communicating something simply obvious. They both want what's between them. What I consider to be Act 3 of the scene is where everything Spielberg has been building pays off. The camera shifts gears. The slow, deliberate pace of Act 1 and the claustrophobic chaos of Act 2 gives way to pure momentum. Characters are now moving, they're making choices, going head to head with the T-Rex. Spielberg lets the action breathe and trusts everything he's built prior to carry it home. So, as I mentioned earlier, the T-Rex escape happens bang on halfway through the movie, effectively splitting the film into two distinct emotional events. Wonder and awe for the first hour, terror and fear for the second. Both halves get equal screen time with the T-Rex escape dead center. Intentionally written this way or not, I see this as Spielberg giving the audience exactly enough time to fall in love with the park before destroying it. We're forced to sit in Hammond's vision for an hour, and then equally forced to sit in Malcolm's theory coming to fruition for the next. The even split almost lets the argument between them live on. You've spent equal time in both worlds, and you leave the film having genuinely experienced both sides of it. Would we feel the same way if the T-Rex scene occurred 30 minutes into the film? Probably not. But you know what's truly incredible about this entire sequence? It's 33 years old and still looks and plays better than most of what's coming out of Hollywood today. Spielberg has directed a lot of great films, but an argument can easily be made that this scene, in particular, is his magnum opus. And I've only broken down the visuals. There's so much more at play here.